I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Why are you clutching that large feral hog like it's a child?
I didn't know they were addictive. You know, I really believed what they were telling me.
He deserves a normal family. 2 parents, a loving family home.
It's about you having to face this.
I am facing this! I am facing it! I am facing this!
Wait. Now I'm ready. I'm ready now.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to episode 96 of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. My name is Flo.
And I'm Gabe. How are you?
You're back from the tunnel.
I hope so. I tried some stuff right after we finished recording our last episode. I called you and was like, all right, I think I fixed it like 5 minutes after we stopped recording. That kind of fixed it, but now I tried it on another computer. It sounded bad once again. I deinstalled the fucking thing once again and then it worked again. I hope this is not temporary and you can listen to me in a crisp and clear quality, the way you're used to when hearing my voice. But yeah,
funny if it went like worse throughout the show. In like 2 hours time, you can barely hear you.
So we gotta hurry up, dude.
Yeah. What's your number one?
I mean, this is a special episode, so we're gonna talk about the best thing we've seen all year, like you probably saw in the title and the thumbnail and where the fuck. Which means there's a lot of stuff we've already talked about. So
yes.
This might go fast. Who knows?
I doubt it. I mean, this is tradition around here. We can say this is probably the first reoccurring topic, right? We've done this last year, obviously. Like every media outlet does it these days to
current.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But we're going to talk about our favorite things of the year. Like, how were your last couple of weeks in terms of preparing for this? Did you watch everything you wanted to? Did you catch up on anything?
Hardly. Last year, there was a couple of things that I tried to squeeze in, like Swallow and Bacurau.
You watched Swallow? Did we talk about that?
I think, very shortly.
Okay.
I am not sure if it was on my list, but I think we shortly talked about it when we came to the honorables, though I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
This year, I barely did that. I had very little time. There's a movie that came out today. We're recording this on December 31st, right at the end of the year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year to everybody listening.
Yeah.
I didn't get around to watch it. I had barely any time today. And the only thing that I did watch, which I think I can spoil, was Power of the Dog. I finally caught up on.
Right.
But I think that's pretty much it. How about you? Did you squeeze anything in last minute?
Lots of things. It was a good week. Well, the cinemas are back open, so I mean, we even saw something together.
Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, but I do doubt that it's gonna make any of our lists because.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you spoiled that you saw Power of the Dog because that means it's not gonna make your list, which is fine. But
I didn't think anybody would expect it to, or you would, because there's
front runners this year.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it, but there's so many things that came out this year. So many things that I forgot about. I thought came out last year.
Yeah,
that's I had to choose from, so it didn't make the list.
But I did the same thing. I looked at everything that I saw this year, and I have to say this is one of probably the worst year of films that I've had as a film geek or whatever.
Oh, really?
It's been a shit year for films.
I'm not sure if it's like worse than last year.
It is. For me, it is.
Yeah. What was like our top 5 from last year?
Well, we had you might be right because of the pandemics. A lot of things were like postponed. Yeah.
Right.
But you might be right. Last year because we had Normal People. That was I'm just remembering my one right now. You had 1917.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, anything else? Yeah.
Yeah. Last year was maybe equally as bad, but I looked through it and I discovered that I did not give a single film or show a 9 out of 10 this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
I gave, I think, one single thing.
But that's not a good year.
That's, I mean, a lot of good 8s. A lot of good 8s.
Okay. I'm surprised because I thought of 2 things right away that would be like a 9 or for you. But we'll get to those.
I think I gave a like to a couple of them on Letterboxd, but
right,
not
that doesn't
a
mean
9.
anything to anyone. But yeah.
Because special movies that you liked. Especially much, you can give a like to a little heart. I think I've won 9 on my list. I might have 2.
Okay.
But it's hard to say. I didn't compare all of them. I just saw what I did see, how I remembered them. Like I mentioned, it's been some time since I watched some of them.
Yeah.
A couple of months.
How many things have you seen this year? Do you want to share that information?
New things or like
2021 things that were in contention for your end of the year list now.
Like in contention, I think I wrote down 18.
No, I mean I mean in contention just in terms of like it could be picked as in like the time frame. It came out in 2021.
Oh, I don't know. Because I do have some 2020 things here technically that came out in like December in the US.
Right. Those count as 2021 for us.
Right.
We've said this many times. Yeah.
So I'm not sure about the list. How about you? Do you know an exact number?
Yes. Well, I keep track of everything, and
Yeah.
it's been well. You too. You log everything on Letterboxd.
Yes, but I know you keep a special list on your phone. I do have everything
I'm
on
going
Letterboxd, and
Yeah.
according to the stats, out of the 209 things that I logged,
okay. Yeah.
46 came out in 2021, and like I mentioned, I watched a couple of things that technically
Sure.
count as 2020. Sometimes it's just the fucking festival dates, even though it came
Sure.
out in January everywhere. So, yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's difficult because so many films took a while to come over here. Like those are like 2021 releases for us. There's also like especially one thing that I saw in 2021 that I was throughout the whole year. I was like, this is going to be in my top 3, and then I realized I could have watched it in 2020 when it came out. So it's not a 2021 release, which is a shame because I didn't include it last year and I can't include it now.
Oh.
But
Would you want to mention it now?
I'll do it later.
Okay.
In the honorables. But I've seen 94 2021 movies and specials this year.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you include all of your 2020 releases, which are in my 94 as well.
Yeah. I didn't include all of the shows since I barely rate any of the shows because I think it's just impossible to rate a show.
Yeah, no, I just included the miniseries, but whatever. We'll get to this. We're going to talk about the best things that we've seen all year, a tradition we've had together for a while. We obviously did it on the podcast last year, and we're going to count down our top 10 favorites of the year. Movies, shows, miniseries, YouTube videos, whatever we want, basically. It has to... Yeah, you're not going to have a YouTube video.
Where a YouTube video makes the list, I think it's going to be
it's
a
plausible.
very bad year.
It's
an amazing
great
YouTube
thing. It could be a great YouTube thing, you know? Some bloopers. I always love to point out these blooper videos, which are fantastic.
Sex tape of Denis Villeneuve.
Sorry?
Let's just move on.
It's Roger Deakins behind the camera.
Oh, that would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Some classy ass porn.
Everything would look a lot bigger. Anyway, where was that? Right. It has to have come out in 2021, where we live in the Central European area, whatever. And you're going to hear a lot of things that came out in 2020. I decided to exclude one thing that is technically not out yet anywhere, like something that I saw at the Biennale. I decided to exclude it this year because it's nowhere out yet. So
I'm not sure if
I think everything you saw at the Biennale is out.
Okay.
I think I actually know the one you're talking
well.
about, and it's going to be out soon. Yeah. You're good with that one. Okay. But let's dive into this. Who starts this week?
Who the fuck knows? I've given up on life. Okay.
Who the fuck knows? Put it in the comments.
The last special we did was on
Tarantino. Nolan?
Tarantino.
I started that one.
You started, yes.
Okay.
So
you got to do the pitch of like what happens if we have it close together and far apart.
Oh yeah, right. prepared as I always am. I didn't even do my vocal warm-ups. You can hear it in my voice right now by how I stutter.
I'm surprised you haven't had a voice break yet.
Wait for it. Don't worry about it. They haven't had any tea. So
right.
That always dries my throat up. Quality, pure as quality. This is a special, like you mentioned. So we're gonna do this in the form of a top 10. And if I have something on my number 9, for example, and you have it on your number 3, we are going to postpone the discussion for later. But if I have something on my 8 and Flo has it on his number 7, we can talk about it then and there and why we have it on these spots on our list. And we're going to work our way through to the best thing that we've seen all year, the thing that we can most recommend or we most enjoyed or had a special experience with, whatever. And yeah, like you said, you started last time, so it's my turn to start with number 10.
Yeah. And would you say, I'm sorry, but would you say this has been I said it was a shit year. That might have been a bit overdoing it a little bit. I'm looking at the list now. I have 10 things which I'm somewhat content with, Mm-hmm. How about you? Like, you haven't mentioned this yet. How does it stack up in terms of other years for you?
Well, all in all, I think there have definitely been better years. I think I do love like the top 5, 6 things that I saw.
Okay.
I thought they were amazing. There were some real gems there. But as a whole list, I think it could have been better.
Okay. Sure.
But it's still good.
Okay.
It's still great. Because my number 10 is something that's going to be higher on your list. It is the new mini series that just finished. It's Dopesick.
He says it with so much confidence, right? As if he knew. Which is interesting because we'll talk about it later. That is higher for me, yes.
Okay. Well, we talked about Dopesick and we discussed if we should talk about it now that it has finished. And you're like, we'll probably talk about it next week anyway. So I just assumed,
Well, it was the day after I talked about it as a pick. You told me that you started.
After?
No. I'm saying something different now. You told me that you also started watching it, and then you were like, I might mention it the next week, and then we forgot to do that. So now I'm like, instead of like talking about it like last week, let's just save the whole discussion for this week because it is going to make my list, and I assumed
I'm excited for that because it is a thing that we haven't discussed yet properly. You just pitched it to me and to everybody listening, and it sounded amazing, and it was amazing.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to that a bit later. My number 10 of 2021 is, I almost included it only to make you laugh.
Let's go.
My 10 is Wrath of Man. I have to laugh myself. Do you remember that film?
What? Wrath of Man?
Yeah, you saw this.
Yeah. The Jesus, what's his name? Mads Mikkelsen movie. No, that's Riders of Justice.
Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham.
Jesus Christ, that is your... No, okay. Jesus, yeah, that was a joke. My brain just got fucked by that statement. Okay.
What's going on?
I'm slow, dude. I am very slow today. Okay, but that's not your number 10, right?
It is. I'm saying I included it because I wanted to get that reaction. I love that you thought it was a joke. I'm being genuine.
You included it as just to make me laugh.
No. That is my genuine number 10 of the year, which
it
tells
really
you
was a bad year for you.
Which I was about to say, which really tells you a lot about my year.
Wow.
No, but
I didn't remember you like loving.
It was my pick that week.
Sure, a lot of things have been.
I remember
we've had 52 episodes.
I remember you spoiled that pick. You were like, "Let's talk about Wrath of Man. It's not going to be your pick," and I'm like, "Well, hold up." Rewind just a little bit.
Yeah, because I never got how much you liked this movie. I thought we were on a similar page. I thought you liked it more than me, of course, but I thought you were like, it's an okay movie.
I wanted to be I wanted some variety on the list, and I wanted to have because I said it during the regular episode. This is like an action film that stands out above the mediocre rest. To me, it was. It's been a while since I've seen a film like that. We saw it obviously in the sneak preview a couple of months ago. New Guy Ritchie film, Jason Statham as this mysterious dude who works at a
money transport company,
safe trucks, whatever. As a driver there with Holt McCallany from Mindhunter and so many other things. I always love to see that dude. It's Scott Eastwood as one of the villains, and dude. I said it. We're going to repeat ourselves a lot because we've already talked about these things before. But the first time you see him, with just the shot of the eyes, the whole like evil there. It worked for me. I was completely immersed in that film, and it is a box standard like brutal action thriller with like 90% gunfights. Probably that's a bit overshooting it, but
Sure.
I really enjoyed the mystery element of it. I wanted to see why Statham is doing what he's doing. And the action was well done, and I liked it. It's a film that I haven't seen. This kind of film I haven't seen in a while, like done properly and like recently. Like there's a couple of good ones obviously in the 90s and the early 2000s. That's sort of the era when those films sort of dominated, I feel like. And I always like to see them done well again. And Guy Ritchie is hit or miss for me, definitely. But Wrath of Man really worked for me. And I had to smile when I went through my picks today. But I wanted to put it on as my number 10 because of some variety. And I excluded certain things that were better. But I wanted to be like, once again, I wanted to go by rewatchability. I wanted to go by fun. And I wanted to go by the whole like cinematic experience. And Wrath of Man was in my top 10 of the year.
Well, yeah, your list just became a whole lot more unpredictable for me. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of things that I haven't seen in your list that
many.
you've seen maybe at the Biennale. Okay. But yeah, that took me by surprise. So, yeah.
You want to bash the film or you want to just move on?
I think I'll move on. I've bashed the movie before. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't the kind of action that really spoke to me. The plot just didn't convince me. But if I had gotten more behind it, I could see why it is just a fun action movie. I mean, there's some good action scenes in there. It's kind of an exciting ending, I guess. But yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, the ending was, it wasn't even the ending. It's really just
the ending, the last like 20 minutes.
Right. But for me, it was not even like one scene towards the end that made it like great. It was just the whole like 2-hour runtime or however long it was. It was a ride, and I enjoyed being on it. So yeah, that's my number 10. You know, I'll tell you afterwards what was my 11 and 12 and some honorables, which are more, prestigious picks. Definitely, yes. But, got to go with the gut.
Sure. Exciting pick.
Thank you.
Yeah. My number 9 is something that I'm not sure qualifies as a pick, and I wrote you, does this count? I'm not 100% sure, but I picked it as my number 9, and it is Palm Springs.
Why wouldn't it count?
It just came out in I don't know, the summer of 2020 in most countries. Yeah. I know it took some time to reach us. I wasn't sure when it came out here.
It definitely counts, and it's higher for me.
Okay. Let's go with that.
I know the feeling of like picking something that's been like in the public discussion for what feels like 2 years.
Yes, such a long time.
I know, but unless we torrent everything and talk about it the day of, we have to stick by the rules. This is a 2021 release here, and we have we got to talk about it this year.
I think this is the only thing on my list that I wasn't sure about.
Okay.
Like if it came out in 2020.
Gotcha.
So what's your number 9? I
mean, we're gonna. It's now your turn to say it's higher, because my number 9 is the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's higher for me.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
My number 8 then is the new, very sweet summer experience by Pixar. It was Luca.
Wow. Have you watched? You have watched it. Okay. Okay. It's not. Yeah. It's not on my list. Okay. Luca is not on my list.
Luca is on my list. I mean, it's Pixar. It just looked and felt great. It was a very fun summer experience, and it is the kind of movie that I would watch again for in the summertime. If I'm looking for that kind of family movie. And since then, I've thought about it a couple of times. The last time I was at the ocean in Croatia over the summer, I thought of this movie and how well they did the water, how beautiful it looked, and it just gives you that feeling of relaxation in a way, and really made me go back to visit Italy sometime. I haven't been in years, and it was just cute. I love the characters. Alberto, there's so many just sweet scenes. It was just even more innocent than even some other Pixar films, maybe. Like Incredibles is maybe a bit more sinister.
Sure.
But it just worked for me, and I would love to watch it again. I was excited when I heard about this movie that it was going to come out because it looked sweet, the whole mermaid thing, and it, classic fucking Pixar. And what I so much like about Luca and so many other Pixar films is just the voice cast is always great. They don't rely on fucking celebrities just coming in and doing every fucking voice like they're going to do for a new Mario movie, which is just the most bizarre casting that I've seen.
Well, Chris Pratt is supposed to have a good voice for it. Like he's supposed to. Dude, I'm not saying it. I know.
I mean, Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah.
As Toad. Like what?
I don't know.
Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, of course.
I don't know what vision they have for this film. I don't know anything about it.
I mean, it's by Illumination, the guys that did like Despicable Me, and
Minions, yeah,
Minions, whatever. So I think they're just speaking to children and what's going to be fun, and just doing the safe bet because recognizable voices bring people to the seats. But what I enjoy about animation movies is that they're completely new characters. You can do with them whatever you want, and you don't just think of the actor the whole time. I think the best voice acting is the kind where you don't recognize the voice. Some big actors have done that, and they do have some, recognizable people in there, like the kid from It and others. But it just worked. Yeah,
I agree. Pixar always they pick the voice that's most suited rather than like a celebrity that's just you're right.
Exactly.
I don't know if I want to I'm sorry if I steal your thunder, but is Encanto going to make your list?
It is not.
Okay. So you enjoyed Luca more than Encanto then, by that logic, obviously.
I did. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about Encanto next week.
Okay, yeah.
For you, I don't know, or how we're going to do this.
Such a good point you bring up because I thought because I've watched many things this and last week in preparation for this, and I was like, maybe if we don't even mention some of them, like the one that we saw together, is not going to make either of our lists, so we can then maybe use it as a viable pick next week or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know how we're going to do this.
If it's not going to be on the list, I mean, why not? I just mentioned Power of the Dog because I knew I wasn't going to bring it up because we already talked about it. So I thought it wouldn't be as interesting. So, sure. Yeah.
But Encanto, I wasn't a biggest fan. I enjoyed Luca more than Encanto too.
I really enjoyed Encanto, except for the ending, which was a bit too sudden.
It was so obvious. Like, not even obvious, but too much for me.
Okay. We'll save it for next week. So what's your number 8?
What is my 8? Let's have a look. My 8 is one of those films that came out 2 years ago, but it took a while.
2 years ago?
Well, no, I'm saying
Jesus Christ.
It actually premiered at Sundance 2020, which is basically 2 years ago, yes.
Okay.
But it came out in 2021 in Austria, which is Promising Young Woman.
It is not on my list.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost excluded it, but then I was looking through my ratings and it was sort of at the top. This was an 8 out of 10 for me. I saw it twice, and to me, when I look back on it now, I don't look back on it as fondly as my rating suggests.
Okay.
But I do remember really thoroughly enjoying it, especially the first time when I had no idea where it was going to go. And it's a nasty piece of work. But I think this sort of superficiality of the whole thing of these, would you agree with that's superficial? I couldn't really, it didn't feel like it was based in reality. This over the top thing and this whole she knows every move and,
Yeah, kind of, but I actually expected it to be even more over the top from what little bits I saw from the trailer and whatever, because I thought it was more of a straight up revenge and horror thing, and it did have more of a grounded plot than
you think
I thought. So? Yeah, I think it was fairly realistic in a lot of ways.
No, sure.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Carey Mulligan is great.
Yes.
So is Bo Burnham. Love Bo Burnham. It is. I like to describe it as this nasty, to me, it is a bit detached from reality, maybe more than it is for you. But it's still such a smart and intricate film and plot, and I just want to see what the director Emerald Fennell does next. I'm really excited to see that because if she can keep that up, it's sort of owning that kind of genre for her, kind of like Peele did in recent years with his movies. I feel like she could do a similar thing. She's a really exciting writer and director, and I like Promising Young Woman. I mean, Great cast. Obviously, Carey Mulligan and Bo Burnham and Jennifer Coolidge and
Max, what's his name?
Greenfield.
Greenfield.
Greenfield. Yeah. Very small role, but yeah, sure. Yeah, it's some hard to watch scenes, especially towards the end in that cabin. Yeah.
Which there's some interesting trivia behind that, which I'm not going to spoil, but yeah, it's definitely an honorable mention for me.
How she wanted to shoot that scene?
Yeah, and for how long?
Yeah. How long? Yeah,
exactly.
So for it to feel real. Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. Look that up when you're finished with it. I enjoyed the ending, which is a weird thing to say, but I think it was different than what I expected. The whole thing was different than I expected. It is entertaining in a sickening kind of way. But overall, it didn't stick in my mind as much as I hoped it would. I was really looking forward to this movie, and I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as I thought. But some scenes, I think we talked about this when we mentioned this as one of our picks. For example, the scene with her and Alfred Molina.
Yes.
Really well done by both of them. And yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, and I love the music too. I really do love the music.
What was it? Poison?
Toxic.
No. Toxic, yeah.
Right, that as well. Just the acoustic, the instrumental version in the later scene. Yeah, it's great. It really fits the film really, really well. That sort of that's why it's such a well-made and crafted film. Even though I don't look back on it with as fondly as before, but it's still such a well-made film.
Yeah,
and it's
definitely
beloved. I mean, it really is beloved.
Yeah, picked up a lot of buzz and even some nominations.
Did it
which
win?
I didn't expect from that movie. She might have won, but I don't think so.
Was it best? Yeah, best screenplay. Yes.
Okay.
Best original screenplay. Dude, the last year's Academy Awards with Daniel Kaluuya winning Best Supporting Actor. I have no idea who won anything. Hopkins won.
It's like the first Oscar ceremony we haven't watched in years. But I don't know who else won.
Well, Frances McDormand won for Nomadland.
Okay, Best Supporting Actress, I think, was the woman from Minari, the one who played the grandmother.
Right.
Best Director, I have no idea.
Oh.
What was Best Picture?
Nomadland.
Oh, right. Makes sense, yeah. Oh, right. Best Director was Zoe Zhao.
Chloe Zhao. Yeah.
Sorry.
Was it? Yeah, it was. Of course it was. Yeah, of course it was.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. Alrighty. What's your 8?
7.
7?
My 7 is something that we teased earlier. Something I wasn't sure even came out in 2021.
Again, Palm Springs?
It came out in 2022. It is going to come out in 2022 in Austria, technically, but we saw it in the Biennale, but it's going to come out in 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for a different one. Interesting.
No, you thought I was going for...
Drive My Car.
No. It's very much my number 11, kind of. 12.
Gotcha.
It even came out. It's screening at a couple of cinemas already.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it
no, it's Spencer.
Which has a screening on the 31st today, so it counts.
Okay, I'm going to take it. Perfect.
Yeah.
I thought it was maybe already out because I kept seeing the posters in so many cinemas.
No, it's going to be out in January, but
right.
Here, it's been out for a while. Anyway, It definitely counts.
So I'm going to take it. I'm going to take this over Drive My Car, which I think mentioned as my favorite film from the Biennale Festival.
Okay.
Because it just stuck in my mind way more. So many scenes, and I've just thought Kristen Stewart was just phenomenal. She was fantastic. As Princess Diana, and yeah, that's why I picked it. It just looked good. Maybe it's just because I've been confronted more with it in recent months, which make me think of it more.
Who confronted it?
No, well,
some thugs in the street.
Yo, you've seen Spencer, right? Amazing actor.
Tell me you've seen it.
But trailers and posters and whatever.
Sure.
And she was so good. And there's this scene which is also in the trailer where she's just running, through time, I suppose, with different costumes on.
Yep.
Which is just so well made. I love the scenes where she is caught by, I forgot his name, of course. Wormtail.
Timothy Spall.
Thank you, Timothy Spall. Poor man, fantastic actor, but he's always going to be Wormtail from Harry Potter to me. Where he catches her in the kitchen, where she just stuffs food in her mouth. due to her being what's it? Is it anorexic or
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah.
Once again, we know what the fuck we're talking about.
I mean,
bulimic.
Yeah, but I haven't looked up which one it was afterwards. I remember us talking about this on the regular episode.
Right. I think it's bulimia.
Yeah.
Then she kind of eats so much in the night when nobody sees her, and those scenes and just them being her being confronted by that, it's just so well done, and I do think she kind of deserves the best leading actress award for that.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic. We've talked about Kristen Stewart in our special, of course, a couple of months earlier, and we professed our love for her. And I think this is just the fucking epitome of her acting so far.
It's her most grown-up performance, I feel like.
Yeah,
it's her most like sophisticated performance.
Sure. Sure.
I'm speaking out of my ass, obviously, but I stand by that.
Sure,
you know? She's great. What I want to say is I agree.
But it's not on your list, right?
It's not on my list. No,
right?
It's not.
Okay,
because it comes out in 2022, so I excluded it for that reason.
Oh, of course, yeah. Doing everything by the book.
Yeah.
So then, what is your number 7?
So I asked you if you caught up on all the things you wanted to see, because so many things came out. We missed things. In the last week, so many things came out.
Yes.
One of those things made my list.
Oh, okay.
And that is Titane.
Right, which we want to watch together, but never then managed to.
Right. I mean, it's been out, I don't even know how long here. Then it was lockdown number 25, so we couldn't see it.
The beginning of November, I think. Or when was the Biennale? I think it came out like a week after.
End of October? Early November?
Yeah, I think it came out in early November then, yeah.
You're right. Right after that, yeah. And now you haven't seen this, so I'm going to stay vague.
Okay.
I will. I mean, we're not doing spoilers anyway on anything. But Titane, the new film by Julia Ducournau, who did Raw, which was, I think, in both of our top 3 horror films of the 21st century.
Yes,
something
fantastic
like that.
Movie.
Yeah. And this is her follow-up. And honestly, dude, I'm struggling to give you the plot for this because it's so fucked up and weird and bizarre and so layered and everything. But basically what it's about a girl who at a young age is in a car accident and has to she gets like a piece of titanium implanted into her skull
okay,
to sort of reconstruct the skull. That's how we meet the main character. I think her name is Alexia. Let me look that up really quickly because it's funny because she used the same names for 2 women in the film as in Raw, as in the 2 leads in Raw. They're both called Alexia and Justine.
Oh, okay.
And Alexia is played by, mispronunciation, sorry, Agathe Roussel. Agathe Roussel. And Justine is played by the same girl, actress, woman who plays the main actress in Raw. So she's reoccurring her Justine role, which is a completely different character, Garance Marillier. But anyway, we get to meet Alexia at an early age, and she has that accident, and then it's like a cut, and we're like probably 20 years later, and she's like a dancer at like car shows, and it starts with this incredible one shot of like tracking throughout the whole like expo where all the cars are, and like all the stripper dancers are like just like contorting on the cars, you know? But it's a great shot, like technically, it's really beautiful. And what happens after that is that she sort of gets, she has many fans and has one weird encounter, and sort of during that encounter, she kills one fan because he's getting too close.
Oh, okay.
And what happens then is she's basically, dude, me with plot, dude. It's her being on the run basically, because this isn't the last murder that she partakes in.
Okay.
So there's a few more follow on that because she has this weird longing for metal as well, which is a weird aspect of it. So yeah.
I was going to ask you if it's going to be in the same vein as Raw, and it sounds quite similar.
It
similar
is
in that,
body horror at its best, I would say. And that's sort of similar to Raw. Yes, it has very, very graphic and gruesome and brutal scenes. People have fainted during this film.
Fainted?
Fainted,
For fuck's
left.
sake.
Yeah. So I was even
this, the
more
70s?
intrigued.
But we're over that.
I can understand why in certain
Sure, but
scenes.
we're like the Saw generation, you know?
No, I'm not saying that people our age have fainted. Maybe it's some, I don't know, younger or older people. I don't know.
Sure.
But so the film is very much split up into two parts. The first part is that part, and then there's a second part where I'm going to stay vague, absolutely, but she's on the run, which I said. She's on the run, and she's sort of like hiding her identity, and she's sort of like taping herself up to look like a man, for her not to be able to be found.
Sure, yeah.
And she meets someone who... the last thing I'll say, and then I'm done with plot. The reason why she dresses up as a boy is because there was a missing poster of a kid who went missing, and she sort of beats herself up and makes herself look like that boy now all these years later, and pretends to be that boy.
Okay.
For the father of the boy to take her under.
Jesus Christ.
And that's not even, right, that's just a setup. That is genuinely just a setup.
I want to watch this movie so much. I mean, you just have to tell me, mutilation and people fainting and
right.
pretending to be kidnapped boys, and I'm all in,
Dude, I could tell you so much more. I mean, that longing for metal, right? She, in one of the first scenes, she's really attracted to cars.
Of course.
Really attracted to cars.
Okay. I think I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like Kurt Russell in Death Proof.
Yeah, even more so. And it is a ride. Now, I didn't... there's so many things to sort of digest in that film. And while I didn't love where it ended up, like it was good, I was sort of hoping for a similar like ending as in Raw.
That's hard.
Such a good ending. Yeah. And I was like, the whole time I was literally like speaking to myself like, Julie, are you going to be able to like, floor me again with the ending? And then at the end I was like, okay, that's kind of... it's cool, but it's not like as great as the other ending, which it's a shame to sort of like, compare everything now to Raw, which is not...
Sure, but it just ended with such a bomb drop.
Right. But the first part, it really has, it's reminiscent of Tarantino because the main actress is so, she really looks like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. And there's some bloody fighting scenes as well, especially one great fighting scene with a great laugh too. It's that pulpy element once again of her. It's that brutal film, which at times is incredibly hard to watch, really like faint-inducing and everything. But also at other times it is fun blood horror, where you're literally smiling and go like that. This is just pulpy goodness.
It is such a fucked up generation.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It sounds good, and now the poster kind of makes sense because I was wondering about the scar.
Yeah.
That you see there.
Yeah. And
cool.
It is about so much more than all of those things that I just said. It really has like an underlying thing. Like Raw wasn't about cannibalism or anything. It was kind of like a coming of age story told through cannibalism.
Wow. Yeah. Sure.
Titane is very, very similar in the sense of like it being about something completely different than you might expect it to be. I'm not going to go into that, but what I'll say is that the guy who plays the father, or he's not really the dad, but he's amazing. Absolutely amazing, like heartbreakingly great. The main actress, she honestly, dude, it feels like she was made for this film. Like in like minute 15, I forgot I was watching an actress, which might be because it's the first film I've seen of her, so I've kind of like only associate her with this. And I love the main actress from Raw that she's in it too. She's so good. Unfortunately, she hasn't done much since Raw, and nothing on that scale. But man, she's so good too. She doesn't have a big part in this, but I was so happy to see her again. So
nice.
Yeah,
it's from like the style. I kind of imagine it to be more similar to like Drive, just from the poster, I suppose, like the neon colors. Is it in that vein? Because I imagine it to take place in a lot of nightclubs and stuff like that, just from the poster.
Just the opening scene, like that of her, like of you getting introduced to that world of that car show that she works at. That's very, You could compare that to Drive, for sure.
Okay.
But it really feels like two different films in a good way, because the second half is really about something completely different than the first. Even though it obviously, there is a red herring going through it, but I'm not going to give that away. And yeah, I mean, man, oh man, what a fucked up film. And I wanted to include it because I've seen many films, like I've excluded films that might have been better than Titane, but there are films that you watch and you're enthralled by them and you'll kind of like appreciate them for what they're trying to be, much more than they maybe achieve. But this is just, she's such a great director, Julia Ducournau, from just the two films that I've seen. And when I started watching it, I was like, this could be one of the best of the year. It kind of lost me towards the end just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But it's still so worth a watch. So yeah, it's one hell of a film, man.
Dude, I love this. Nice.
Yeah. I hope I stayed vague. But believe me, I did. There's
sure.
That's really just a setup.
Yeah, dude.
I would never tell you anything I didn't want to know beforehand. So yeah.
Is this out to stream or is it still in cinemas?
It's in cinemas. No, it's in cinemas.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. It's out on Blu-ray in the UK, I think. You know, it's been out in so many places for such a long time.
All right. I don't know if I'll get to watch it in the cinemas, but I'll definitely pick it up on Blu-ray or something.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
What's your 6?
Well, my number 6 is a movie that came out very early in the year, and that actually might be my favorite performance of the year.
I know what this is.
It's Pieces of a Woman.
Yeah. The first film we saw in 2021.
Yes. It is the first, or one of the first, at least, for the special. And it just blew me away. Vanessa Kirby was nominated for Best Actress Award, and I think she should have won.
Who won again?
Frances McDormand.
Frances McDormand. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's just so much heartfelt emotion in that. And it's, we talked about this, it's a movie about a couple played by Vanessa Kirby and Shia LaBeouf, and they're having a baby together, and there's this very intense birth scene.
Speaking of one-shots, yeah.
Yeah.
One-ers and beginnings, yeah.
Fucking amazing, that shot, and such good fucking performances. I love that shot. It's so fucking not thrilling, but what's the suspenseful, I suppose. And it's a birth. There've been many birth scenes in many movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, it's my kink. What can I say?
No. I thought it was princesses.
No, but Pieces of a Woman does it so well, dude. I was on the edge of my seat. I think I mentioned this. I watched this with a friend of mine. I fucking crushed her hand pretty much while watching this. I was so fucking worried about what was going to happen. I think I already knew what was about to happen, because that's pretty much the setup for the plot.
Sure.
Which is the birth doesn't go well, and the movie is how they cope with that, and the fucking how they just start to hate each other. That's like this fucking this disdain that you see in each other's in their faces when they look at each other is so fucking heartbreaking and so well done. I mean, it just tears you apart, Lisa.
Yeah. I love that it tears her apart.
Jesus.
No. Jesus. No. Jesus. No, because in the film in Room, it's like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. And I was like, you're talking to Lisa, it's tearing you apart. Come on, Lisa, it's tearing you apart. Dude, yeah, it's been so long, like almost a year, but I agree. This is one of the best performances of the year, and the wonder in the beginning is incredible, and the dynamic between the two of them is great, and like the whole family element too, of like not knowing what to do, how to support her, and of like the disdain that happens there too.
Yeah, and people just having different ways of grieving.
For sure.
Which is hard to understand for other people, and I mentioned Vanessa Kirby. I kind of fell in love with her when I saw The World's End. No,
The World to Come.
World to Come. Every fucking time. Loved that movie. One of my favorite movies of the year. Still fucking can't say the name. I fell in love with her there. I was looking forward to Piece of a Woman because of her, and she was my highlight. But I was so surprised once again by Shia LaBeouf. I keep being surprised because I had the stigma of him being not the greatest actor, but he completely proved me wrong last year with Piece of a Woman, or I guess also this year, and Peanut Butter Falcon, so many other things that he did, and and Honey Boy.
Yeah.
He is a great actor.
Yeah, I actually got Peanut Butter Falcon on Blu-ray this Christmas. I
Nice.
adore that film.
Very nice. Yeah,
I
it's
love
a
that
good
film.
film.
Yeah. And obviously Dakota Johnson in this, which she was in the film that you apparently didn't see today, The Lost Daughter, which is not
Yes.
going to make my list.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm going to say about it, other than Dakota Johnson is also in that film, and she is great in that film.
Yeah.
It's Olivia Colman's film for sure, but
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson is, I couldn't, like every time she was on the screen, I couldn't look away because she's really, really good.
Right, yeah, The Lost Daughter. I would have loved to watch it before this, but I didn't think it would make my list.
No.
Maybe, but there
I
were
would,
so
I
many
would have
other
been
good
surprised.
things.
Yes. I would have been
And
surprised.
I might talk about it next week then.
Yeah, we can.
So yeah, what's your number 6?
So my 6, I don't know if you've seen this because I talked about it on the Biennale special. It's now been out on Netflix for about a month, which is The Hand of God.
I haven't. I've seen that it is on Netflix, but I haven't seen it yet. No.
This is simply on this list for the cinematic experience because the first half of the film is the funniest film I've seen all year.
Oh wow!
And I talked about
Oh, did you talk about this on our last time we talked about the Biennale, or did we talk about this in private? Because we didn't mention all of the movies
on the Biennale podcast episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just it was one of the many films that I kind of like summarized within like 30 seconds, I think.
Sure, yeah.
The second half wasn't that it took a turn. It became more of like a family drama then, because it's Paolo Sorrentino who did like Youth and The Great Beauty, and this is his latest film where he sort of like he made a film about his childhood in Naples. It's a very autobiographical film to a certain extent, I think. That was at a time when Diego Maradona was playing for Naples, and it was at a time when he was the biggest thing. And it's kind of it doesn't have anything to do with football, really. It's just about the time in Naples when that happened, and it is about a guy coming of age, an Italian actor who looks very much like Timothée Chalamet in a film that is very similar to Call Me by Your Name. It has the comparisons to Call Me by Your Name are there. Like, it's not a gay love story, but it's just like the guy in Italy, like having the time of his life, coming of age. But the first half of the film is you get to meet his family, the Italian family, and it is hysterical. He's got this hot aunt that every family member staringly looks at in a. Could be like a bad way, but it is very, very funny. No, it is funny. It's hysterical. Okay. There's some of the shots in there are just fantastic. The parents are so sweet together. There's a grandmother who's just angry the whole time, eating mozzarella, stuffing her face. It is, honestly, I couldn't believe it because it was a surprise film at the film festival. I didn't know what I was going to see. And I saw it with a friend of mine, and we were both like, what the fuck is this going to be? A football documentary about Diego Maradona? Thankfully, it wasn't, and the first half of the film is among the funniest of the year. And I'm kind of like, I don't think it's going to translate as well into the Netflix experience because comedies, I mean, you laugh when other people laugh, so I think you're going to chuckle maybe a few times. But for me, the whole like experience of like watching it with a big crowd and sort of like everyone understanding the humor and buying into it was really, really great. And the second half of the film, it gets a bit sad, and it's as I said before, it's more of a drama then, which is still interesting and good, but it struggles to find the coherent ending. And overall, it's very, very good. But the first half is why it's on the list.
Number 6 is still a very good place in this list. Yeah, right.
I mean, it is a weird year.
It is.
Yeah, check that out. It might be like a hidden gem or whatever. It takes a while. Don't judge it by the first 10 minutes. Give it another give it 45 minutes. And no, really, or like 30 minutes, whatever. The first scene is a bit weird, but it gets very, very good after that.
Nice. Yeah, it is on my Netflix list. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it's good
so far.
I think you would enjoy it.
Nice.
What's your 5?
Yes, so we're getting into the top 5, and this is really hard. I am not quite happy with where this movie ended up.
Okay.
But I'll still do it. My number 5 is Dune.
Not on my list.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's no Wrath of Man. Let's be honest, it is no Wrath of Man.
You're just fucking breaking my brain. Fucking Wrath of Man, but no Dune. That's unprecedented.
Yeah.
Because we haven't.
I don't feel the need to. I could justify it, but well, you talk about. I mean, you know.
Yeah, dude. I gotta say, I love Dune. I thought it was a very good movie. But the reason why it's only my number 5, even though I enjoyed it so fucking much, I enjoy Denis Villeneuve, is because it is not a finished movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like the first half of an epic. But I want to put it still on this list and still high enough because it looks fucking amazing. It is a big fucking epic. It is like in the special effects department, from the camera work, everything just looks gorgeous. It was one of the best cinematic experiences I've had this year.
I would agree with that. Yeah, sure.
And I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I think I mentioned this before. Like, Dune isn't like my favorite setting. That's not the reason why I was looking forward to this. It's not like the story that hooked me. Although it has some great plot scenes, like the box of fucking pain or whatever it's called.
Sure.
Yeah, which is pretty much the scene this movie was also promoted with. And yeah, I think everybody's heard it by now. It had a big promotion, which is good since a lot of other Denis Villeneuve movies haven't, such as Blade Runner, which should have done way better at the box office than it has. But you know, it was still critically beloved, and I think this movie is too. And I think this has gotten a bit more attention than Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's definitely more successful. I mean, that's why they're already doing the second one, or it's like been confirmed that they're going to do it. Yeah,
which I'm glad about.
Yeah,
they get some recognition, and yeah, it just felt good to watch this movie. And I'm so looking forward to the second one. There wasn't enough. Help me out. Zendaya or Zendaya? Zendaya. Very good. Wasn't enough Zendaya in there, but I hope that's going to be made up in the second part.
I'm sure it will be. Yeah.
I mean, the cast was phenomenal. I'm going to fucking stop using the word fantastic. Yeah,
fantastic.
But nobody had like a performance like, Vanessa Kirby in Pieces of a Woman, for example, which is hard to do. If you got this big star-studded cast, I'm sure it's hard to focus on one character and really flesh that out and just focus on that actor, giving a big performance, since there's so many people there. There's so many things to keep track of.
I think Rebecca Ferguson comes closest to that. I said that on the regular episode.
And she was fantastic.
She's my favorite part of the film. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I also love the matriarch, whatever, who does like the test with Timothée Chalamet. I thought she was really good.
Charlotte Rampling.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Just gonna go ahead and say yes.
Sure, I think that's the Charlotte Rampling. Yeah, she's great.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of things to like. I recently watched like a video of people, reacting to VFX effects.
Yeah.
YouTube channel talking about Dune effects, comparing it to the older one, which did some amazing things as well. Since they didn't have the technology, of course, this was before they had computer effects, which is crazy to think about when you watch that movie. Like everyone was done practically.
The Lynch version, yeah.
Yes, like even like the armor that they have that looks like polygons. It's apparently hand drawn on there.
Yeah. I mean,
frame by frame.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it still looks like shit.
But yeah, it does. I didn't want to say it. It's an achievement.
Still impressive.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like the models they did for that. But that's not the Dune I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big fucking feast for the eyes and ears, and even sometimes the ass when the chair started vibrating.
Sorry. Yeah.
Which is why it's my number 5. It had to be in there. Yeah.
It
was a big experience.
I agree with almost everything you said, but for those reasons, I didn't put it on. It feels like a setup for the second one, which is going to be the main one. It was also one of my most anticipated films of the year, and I mean, I've said my piece on this on the regular episode. If you want to listen to that again,
sure.
I'm happy with what I said there because I'm not going to add anything to it. I haven't seen it since. I don't know if you've seen it since again.
I would have liked to, but I didn't find time.
Yeah, I'm now like, it's been months, and I'm kind of like interested in watching it now again, more than I was like a week after.
It would be cool if there's like a double feature when this comes out to show
will
both.
Be 6 hours.
Probably like in the second week, or like in the cinemas where I don't want to watch Dune because I want to watch this like the first or second day in IMAX, and I think they're just going to show the movie on its own.
Yeah. And I mean, Villeneuve is going to do something else too. Recently, there was a new project. I forgot what it was called now. I don't know what the schedule is. No, it was something else, like just in development now. I unfortunately forgot what it was. But I want to see him do the second Dune, of course, because it's his, favorite book or whatever. And he's got so much more story to tell. And there's no one else that wanted to see helm the second one, but I also want to see him go back to other films. So,
yeah. But he's got to see this through.
No, for sure.
Otherwise, this would feel kind of empty.
For sure. It's going to be interesting to see if he does like the other project now first and then Dune after, I think. I'm not sure.
It's going to be like on a lower scale.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, cool.
But Dune, I mean, Chalamet's great. And I mean, so many great actors. And as you said, Brolin, Bardem.
I really liked also Skarsgård. I thought he was just so fucking menacing.
He was so good. Yeah, he was. Visually, it's one of the most beautiful films of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what's your number 5?
My 5, could be your 5, could be your 1, is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Well, it's my number 4.
Okay, look at that. Is that the first? No, it's not the first. We've had so many same ones yet. We just haven't talked about it yet.
Palm Springs, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Think so. Must be.
Yeah. What else is there to say? I mean...
right. What's in number 3?
Spoiler talk? I don't know.
We had kind of a spoiler talk, right?
I know. I'm saying, should we do spoilers now? I mean...
I think we can keep this spoiler free. If you want to have an in-depth spoiler discussion, we have that on there, and to just make this list easy on the ears without having to skip around and be worried about spoilers.
All right, we'll stay spoiler free, but have your opinions changed on it in the last 2 weeks, or the same?
Quite the same. I mean, the initial, excitement and adrenaline has, of course, subsided since then.
Sure.
Because we talked about this very, very shortly after we watched it. And yeah, it was great. There were many great scenes in there and so much to look forward to. And in the cinema, it was just a great experience, which is why it's on this list. But I think it's fairly unchanged. And I mentioned this before, like when we did the Marvel special. I'm working my way through the movies once again. I'm still not finished. I took a bit of a pause, but I'm excited to end up at this film again, to watch it again. And there's, I bet, so many things that I missed that I'm looking forward to rewatching. How about you?
No, it's, I think it's grown on me, but not for reasons like I don't I still have the same issues with it. Like, the ones that I mentioned on the regular episode, but they still somehow pulled it off, you know? It's so weird. I just looked at my 4 and 3 and I was like, how are those films before, like, higher in my list than No Way Home? Like, no way is that accurate, but I'm just going to stick with it now. But there's absolutely no way. Like, in terms of, like, cinematic, this was my favorite cinematic experience of the year.
Sure.
No Way Home. It was.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was great.
So, yeah. I don't. Maybe I'm going to argue that 4 and 3 are better films now, but honestly, that No Way Home should be 3.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Spider-Man. I said Dune was my favorite cinematic experience, just from how it looked, how it felt. Everything was just so clean and beautiful. But Spider-Man: No Way Home was just such a blast to watch with an audience, which is my favorite, experience in a cinema to watch with others. Because I could have watched Dune alone in a big ass cinema. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man, I think I could have watched maybe even not in IMAX, but I think the crowd was even more important than the screen.
Yep. So,
right?
Yeah, for posterity's sake, I was like, say 5, 4, and 3. I'm regretting now. Maybe No Way Home should be 3, but in an hour I'll be like happy with the list, So it's gonna stick at my number 5 right now. Spider-Man: No Way Home. But take my 4 and 3 with a grain of salt, because I think it's my 4 now, right? Because Spider-Man was your 4. So my 4 is Palm Springs. Now,
let's go.
Palm Springs. That was your 9 or what? 8?
It was my 9. Yeah.
I don't know why that's higher than No Way Home, but I think it's. Let me see how I can twist and bend this. You got something?
The way I sometimes list this, and I put this list together fairly quickly. I always complain, dude, I had such a hard time with my list. I thought this was fairly okay, especially my top 5, because it's also just, maybe it's hard to argue why it's better, but it's just the memory that just feels so good and just makes you want to rewatch this and just recommend this movie.
That's the case for Palm Springs? Or for No Way Home?
I don't know. It might be for you for Palm Springs. Palm Springs is my number 9 because of that. Made on the list because I just had a blast and I watched it again. And it's the kind of movie where somebody asked me, what kind of comedy would you recommend? I would just go Palm Springs, watch that. It's a fun ride.
It's a crowd pleaser for everyone. And it's once again a film that's been out for 2 years. Vaguely around 2 years.
I think, like summer 2020. Well,
yes, it came out in summer 2020.
Yeah.
But it took a while to come over here. So, it's on our lists this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's Groundhog Day now, like a rom-com set at in Palm Springs at like a resort where people are like caught in a time loop. Obviously, Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti? No.
Oh,
Kristen Milioti. Yes.
Is it?
Yes, Kristen Milioti.
Okay.
Stuck in a time loop together and falling in and out of love with each other in that. And obviously, J.K. Simmons, my man, has been in so many films again this year. What was it? It was last week being The Ricardos. He's obviously in No Way Home. He's in Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm.
Good year that man has had.
Yeah, dude, what hasn't he been in?
Yeah, so there's a film that came out yesterday or today where it's like a football film. Supposed to be absolutely terrible. And maybe it's like I don't know if I got the right sport. I looked at the rating and I was like, okay. Oh, obviously Invincible he was in. Is that going to be on your list? Holy shit.
I completely forgot about Invincible. No, it's not going to be on my list. I keep forgetting about shows. Same thing with Normal People last year.
Yeah. National Champions is the new, it's a football, like an American football film with J.K. Simmons. Anyway, I digress. Palm Springs, I love his role in Palm Springs too. J.K. Simmons is like the bitter old guy who has a grudge on Andy Samberg and keeps coming back to kill him with a fucking crossbow, was it?
Like whatever you can find.
Whatever you can
very
find.
Brutal, actually.
Very brutal. Yeah, this was a delight. And this was one of the few films that actually lived up to expectations, like waiting for it like 16 months or however long it was. And it was actually as good as everyone said it was. Well done to everyone involved. It's definitely sort of like I would say the film of the year in terms of like, if, as you just said, if someone asked for a comedy, you can't go wrong with Palm Springs.
Have you rewatched it since?
I haven't, no.
Okay, because I want to ask you if the ending has grown on you, because I don't remember what your feelings were about the last shot of the movie.
The last
Still
shot?
trying to stay vague here, but
is that a profound shot?
I don't know about profound, but I thought at first I was quite confused, but by the second time I watched it, I was like, this kind of works for me. I can see why one wouldn't be satisfied by it and just confused.
And I'll to stay somewhat vague, even though I don't think we need to, but let's not do spoilers. But the story ended in a way that didn't blow me away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, okay, they went down that route, and then the last shot was just like, I mean, I would say that the reveal is before the last shot, right? Mm-hmm. So the last shot was just like, okay, yeah, sort of like, okay, that's I guess where it ends now. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it.
Sure.
Yep.
Right.
What's your 3?
Top 3. That's tough. I really like my top 3. 3 really good things. My number 3 is a movie that I think is not gonna make your list.
Okay.
But hey, go ahead and surprise me. It's Green Knight.
Yeah. I was expecting it to be on your list. It's not on my list now.
Green Knight, the reason it is on my list in the top 3, it's, I think, probably the movie on this list that stayed in my mind the most. There's so many scenes that I kept thinking about going over in my head. Green Knight, the new movie by David Lowery. Great fucking director. Except for the dragon. What's it called?
Shut
Pete
your
the
mouth.
Dragon.
Pete's Dragon is a good film.
I'm not a fan.
Good
film.
Sure. Saw it in theaters, had goosebumps at the end.
But apart from that, I love his movies like Ghost Story and Old Man and the Gun. Fantastic filmmaker. This is his newest work, maybe his most weird and abstract, even though Ghost Story is also quite weird and abstract. And it's a medieval tale of a person at the court of King Arthur going on his own adventure. meeting the weirdest fucking people. It feels like a fairy tale for fucked up adults who are high.
Put that on the poster.
I actually got the poster at home.
Oh, yeah?
Haven't hung it up yet, though. And the movie takes you from place to places, and it just feels like a big adventure. I've been listening to the audiobook of The Lord of the Rings now, read by Andy Serkis. Love it. And what I love about that book also is just the traveling. They go from place to place and they meet new characters and adventures, and it just felt so special. And like I said, also abstract, because it is the Green Knight, this this tree person, like leaves for a beard and stuff like that, coming to the court and, trading a blow for a blow to kind of gain legend, I suppose, which sounds probably very vague and whatever. But, that's kind of the setup of this movie, if you haven't seen it. And don't expect a classical movie film arc of a character and a story evolving. But just the design of that and where it's taking him, and like the scenes we're not sure if he's imagining them or are they real. Only criticism that I have is like the special effects aren't great for the time we live in.
Yeah, you said that. I didn't think it would look bad.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan
with
of the fox.
Fox.
Yeah. But I still like the fox as a character.
Sure.
But that's the only thing that kind of took me out of it. But it just, the whole design, the costumes, Dev Patel, of course, as the main actor, I thought he looked great. I loved like his cape that he has all throughout. There's so many things that I think I could have read something into, and I'm not the kind of person who likes to go like, oh, this movie was so sophisticated. Did the writer think of the color when he chose that and that? Not a big fan of that. Some movies, you shouldn't just, sometimes you just like a movie and that's enough. You don't have to go into fucking, you don't have to start talking about Nietzsche or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I was going to do that on my number 3.
It's the kind of movie where I just want to theorize and discuss and want to watch again.
Yeah. I've recently watched the new I was about to say Coen Brother film, but it's just Joel, Tragedy of Macbeth. It looks like it's literally reminded me so much of The Green Knight. So just in terms of the way it was shot, the cinematography.
Interesting.
If you loved the way Green Knight looks, you would really thoroughly enjoy the Tragedy of Macbeth.
That's out yet?
Yeah.
Dude, didn't even realize that. Nice, okay.
It's visually gorgeous. Like really reminiscent of Green Knight.
So was Macbeth with Michael Fassbender.
True.
It was just a bit of a drag if you're not big into
Dude, I am not big into
Shakespeare.
it. I said it's like watching Tragedy of Macbeth, it's like watching a foreign film without subtitles. Dude, I had no fucking clue what was going on.
Oh, okay.
No fucking clue. I watched it with a friend and we were literally like, after that, we opened up the Wikipedia page and sort of went through the whole Macbeth story to go like, that's what that meant. That's what that meant. Literally like not being able to understand the language. But sure. That's me being ignorant, Right. I mean, nice. Green Knight, it's good. Yeah. It's just not that for me, but I've said that before. It's a beautifully looking film. But
I'm sure it's not a movie for everyone, but I think, it's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting better in my mind.
Have you watched it again?
No, I haven't.
But it keeps getting better.
Well, just when I think about certain scenes.
Yeah, sure.
Might just be my memory playing tricks on me because I have a notoriously great memory.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows.
Absolutely.
But I'm definitely going to buy this in Blu-ray and rewatch it with maybe somebody who hasn't seen it, although that might be risky because I don't want to sit next to somebody who just keeps like, all right, when is this going to be over? This was fine. Thank you so much for having me over.
Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, so I might just watch it alone with a beer or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, my 3. Yeah. Seeing as your memory is this great, I'm sure you remember my favorite animated movie of the year, which,
Luca.
I had it last year too, where Onward ended up being, I think it was my 3, which looking back on it, it's kind of weird, but gotta be honest, man.
Sure.
With the lists as well this year, it being a weird list, and I wasn't that, like, nothing really blew me away, except maybe one thing. My 3 is The Mitchells versus the Machines. I stand by that. I said it on the regular episode too. I thoroughly love that film. I was so surprised you didn't like it.
To find this on the list, but in your top 3, I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, it's one of the few films that sort of almost cracked the nines for me. And it's like
nice.
But you know, I'm not sitting here and go like, man, I can't wait to rewatch Mitchells versus the Machines. It's just for me, animated movies. It was like Onward. I watched it and I thought it was almost perfect, but it doesn't have a huge rewatch value to me.
Sure.
And I can't even like. I was so surprised. Yeah,
still above like Spider-Man. When you said you weren't sure about your top 3, I didn't expect that movie, but sure.
Right.
Why not?
But I said it, right? It's on record, like 5. I was like, I don't know why those 2 ended up being for No Way Home.
Sure.
But I would argue, and I'm going to stand by this now, I think The Mitchells vs. the Machines is a better film than No Way Home, but it is obviously less enjoyable.
Wow.
I would
Okay,
say
sure.
So. I had my issues with No Way Home. I had my issues with it.
Sure.
But, I mean, I loved it, you know? It's the minute details here. But Mitchells versus the Machines, I mean, Olivia Colman once again as the villain of the robots that, like, the main, like, the phone that, the robot apocalypse is happening and what family can save the world. It's the Mitchells on a road trip to the college that they're going to send their daughter to. And during that road trip, the robot apocalypse happens and they have to save the world. And I got to be honest with you, man, this... Can't remember much about it.
I love that. Like, you're just blowing your lips like, fuck it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and go like, oh, do you remember that great scene? I looked through certain scenes on it on YouTube like a couple of hours ago to sort of refresh in the mind.
Sure.
What I did remember was that it's a visually gorgeous film. I love the animation style of this film. Really thoroughly, like towards the end as well, in that fight where there's this great entrance of I think is it Maya Rudolph who voices the mother of her character. Great entrance and great fight at the end. I love the little brother who's like obsessed with dinosaurs. I love the filmmaking aspect of the whole thing of like obviously the main character, the girl wanting to be a filmmaker and sort of documenting the whole road trip along the way. It really worked for me. It was a sweet family dynamic set in a obviously challenging circumstance, and it doesn't do anything special. It has the same cheesy elements to it. It has the same predictable elements to it of the father like wanting the best for his daughter, and in doing that sort of like he's the embarrassing dad, but he's the lovable dad, and you know where it's going, but for whatever reasons it really worked for me.
Sure.
And I'll say it for the 4th time. I was really surprised that you didn't enjoy it as much as I did, because you're the animated guy or animation guy. And I don't know, for whatever reason, we're completely different. Like this was by far my favorite animation film of the year, and it didn't really work for you.
I think I'm just a natural born hipster. If
but
everybody likes
into
it,
no?
like something else.
Everyone likes Luca. Everyone likes the Green Knights.
Yeah, sure. No, I don't know. There's so many things that just didn't work for me. Like the scenes you talked about, some of them just, I gotta say, first of all, I forgot most of the movie already, which just kind of speaks for how much I enjoyed it. Like you said, like the entrance at the end by Maya Rudolph, it was so over the top. I just found it quite predictable in a way. I think it's also the problem if you start out with a movie, it was quite hyped, it was supposed to be quite good, and I just didn't like it as much, and at some point there's just this switch that flicks in my brain where I'm go like, all right, I just hate this now, and I'm gonna pick apart everything that I don't like about it, and I'm like, okay, they did this, I'm sure they're gonna do something like that, and I'm like, okay, of course I was right, which is just, too bad, because there are movies like Luca that are quite predictable as well, but I enjoyed them so much that I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
There's so many movies where you can watch with somebody and I bet that happens later, because that's, of course that's going to happen. And when they say it, I'm like, yeah, of course it's going to happen. So please don't say that, because I'm just so in the moment, that I don't think about the thing that they tease. If they talk about, I don't know, that character has gone missing for such a long time, of course he's going to come up later. They don't just mention that for fun.
Sure.
It's going to play a role in the movie. But in the moment, I'm just so into it that I don't care. But in a movie where I don't know, don't like it for some reason, I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to come up any second. Or this is going to come up. There it is. Of course it is there. I don't know what it is. I know it's probably a bad habit. But
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's so subjective. I do it on other films that you enjoy.
Sure.
It is just the kind of mood you're in at the time when you watch it.
Of course, yeah.
For whatever reason, this one really, really worked for me. And
I'm glad, yeah. It's beloved. I can't say I'm right about this because so many people love it and they have good arguments. I just can't agree with them for some reason, but it does look very cool. The style that Sony Animation has, it's quite unique, and I'm glad they have it.
Yeah.
So cartoony.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is something that we talked about very recently. It's Nowhere Special.
First of all, I know you're 1, but then again, I didn't expect Nowhere Special. I thought about it. Wow, that is your number 2 of the year.
I actually said I have one thing that I rated 9 out of 10. I'm sorry, I have 2. This is the second one.
Wow. Did you bump that up?
From where?
I don't know. When we talked about it on a couple of episodes ago, it was like it sounded like you almost already forgot about the film because we hadn't talked about it.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about so many, I don't know. I didn't think to talk about it like that week. You're like, this came out now, let's talk about it. I just wasn't prepared and didn't have all my thoughts clear. But when I saw this Nowhere Special, the story about a man seeking a new family for his son since he has a chronic illness and needs to prepare for the worst, which is going to happen any day now. And I thought about this movie a whole lot when I first saw it, and I recommended it actually to a couple of people. And this is not the kind of movie that I would recommend to everybody, I suppose, but this was just so well performed and so well done that I think most people just have to appreciate it, even if it's not the genre that they're into necessarily. Because
I think no one has seen this.
That as well.
Yeah.
Which makes it so much more special, I suppose. It has like 2,000 ratings on IMDb.
Yeah.
Like worldwide, which is not a lot. But we talked about this very recently, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But yeah, the performances by both the father and also the son, whose I think very first performances was. Apparently, like the actors just came over to the kid's house at times to kind of play with him and bond with him to make it, a closer experience for the both of them.
Yeah.
Which is so sweet and just fits into it so well because they do seem like father and son. Just these adorable scenes, which is so heartbreaking of him having to take his medication, of course, to make it as long as possible, but being so drained by it and just having to throw up in the middle of the day or in the morning, trying not to wake his son and falling asleep on the couch and no longer having the energy to play with his son because he also has to work like 40 hours a week because he's not well off. It's so heartbreaking and made me feel more than most things in real life have.
Yeah, it's. I agree. I think James Norton, he delivers one of the best performances of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure he's not going to get the recognition that he deserves because this is not a big movie.
Yeah, I'd be surprised too. But it would be very, very deserved.
It would be. It would be. And this is one of the reasons also why it should be this high, because I just want to tell people about it. Like, keep an eye out for this. I think it has been in cinemas. We talked about this in very small ones. If you still get a chance to see it, do, or I don't know, if it's ever on TV or if you like DVDs or if it's ever in the bargain bin, pick this up, watch it, do yourself a favor, watch something that's maybe a bit out of the way, but just such a rewarding experience in a way.
Yeah. I don't even know if this is eligible for like awards this year. Maybe it came out like a year ago in the UK and it was already eligible and it was neglected. I don't know. No idea. No idea.
Sure. But yeah, that's my number 2.
It's a great pick. Yeah. I mean, would be an honorable for me.
Right. So what's your number 2?
My
because
2?
I know one thing at least.
Yeah, you know the other one too because you mentioned it before thinking it was Wrath of Man. My number 2 is Riders of Justice. Remember that one?
Yes. Which just kind of blew my mind what was your number 1.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. Riders of Justice. Sure, I should have seen that coming, and just because it hasn't come up so far, I've kind of like forgot that this would be on your list, but fair enough. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen has to be in your top 3 at least.
Right. I mean, like the top 10 list of like, it was for me, it was clear what my top 2 were going to be. Those were like the only 2 that were set during the making of this list, right? Which once again speaks for the year in terms of films. But I actually also knew the order. My 1 was set in stone. So was my 2. Riders of Justice, it is hysterical to me. It is the humor that I like. It has all of the actors and from all of those Anders Thomas Jensen films that I enjoy so much. Mads Mikkelsen at the core of it, one of my favorite actors of all time. You've watched it since as well. I think you enjoyed it as well. dark comedy of like a revenge story of Mads Mikkelsen trying to figure out what the hell happened to his wife.
Yeah.
Along with his daughter, who was also involved in the accident, but thankfully survived. And a lot of not friends, but he meets a lot of people along the way. And there's a gang involved as well, which maybe had something to do with the accident. And they're trying to figure out what happened and trying to take the revenge. And it takes shifts. I mean, it goes from being a comedy to being a very brutal action film. I love the moments of when Mads Mikkelsen's character sort of like when his fuse is lit and he just goes and knocks a guy out, where you sort of see his past coming through. I love the comedic elements. I love the guy, I think he's called Emmentaler. I love the whole scene where they're assembling weapons for the first time, and the dude, the heavyset guy Emmentaler, he's just like, he gets it because he loves assembling things. I love the way he holds out the gun once he's ready to. Just like he's in the military, just like perfectly holds it out. And Mads Mikkelsen goes like, how the fuck do you do? Yeah, I just love assembling things. I love the hacker laughing at the fact that at the assumption of him not being able to hack something, he just goes like, that's the easiest thing ever. I don't know what it is about Anders Thomas Jensen films that the whole tone of it works for me, and I can just soak up these films. And Riders of Justice, good mixture of action and comedy, and one of the films of the year that really, really blew me away. Worked for me, yeah. Yeah,
like it's also like drama. You mentioned this when you had this as your pick with the breakdown of Mads Mikkelsen.
Scene, yes.
When I saw this movie, I gotta say I wasn't as convinced by the movie as a whole, but by a couple of scenes, and that was one of them, which just blew me away. And also some of the funny scenes, for example, when that hacker guy pretends to be a psychiatrist too.
Oh,
when his daughter wants to know what's going on and why they're here.
Fantastic.
So, are you a psychiatrist? I want to see, because I'm fucking taken aback by what has happened to me and my mother. So, oh, sure, I'm a psychiatrist. Why the fuck not? Like, sitting down with her and giving her the worst advice you've ever heard of. Because he's like, I've had so many therapy sessions, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, her want to talk about her mom, and he's like, oh, yeah, it's all right that you're fat, you need to be okay with that. Just what? It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. I love that film so much. What's your one? Right?
Yeah. So the best thing that I've seen in 2021 is Suicide Squad.
Insane.
The Suicide Squad, I suppose, by James Gunn.
Yeah. I love by the fact, I think in the regular episode when we talked about this, you picked Minari as your pick of the week.
Did I?
Which didn't even make your list. But now it's your one.
Jesus Christ.
I love it.
Well, I had Minari on my list, but I bumped it off for something else in the end. Suicide Squad, I watched this twice in cinemas. I very rarely do that with anything, but I just want to watch it again. I watched it like the day after, I think, or 2 days after I first saw it. I had a fucking blast. I kept thinking about this. This is the kind of movie, if the second we fucking finish this podcast, I could turn this movie on, I would still have a blast.
Yeah, fair.
And I could watch this movie 10 times, and I'm sure I will in the course of my life, because I have nothing better to do. There's just so many things that work for me. The story is just so over the top and stupid that I can get behind it. It's got such eccentric characters that when I see them just make me smile. There's so many quotes that worked for me the second time, and action that is so brutal and fun to watch, which is, once again, just a testament to how fucked up this generation is in a way. But it just works for me when the fucking people are just getting flailed. The fucking javelin dude at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah. Fun character, and then just everybody dies in the most gruesome fucking way possible. And it is just funny.
Yeah. Dude, the opening is my favorite bit of the whole thing.
It's so good. And I'm looking forward to a second one of this coming out. I want to watch the Peacemaker fucking show. I was so surprised by this because I hated the first one, the first iteration of the Suicide Squad, like most people did. And I had very little expectations of this. When I heard there's going to be a new Suicide Squad, it's going to be by James Gunn, I was like, okay, nice. James Gunn is a cool director. He's done Guardians movies. I liked him, but how much can he pull out of this, This is a broken concept. Just scrap it and do something else.
Yeah.
But it worked. He fucking revamped it completely. It's just something that I love now. The first DC thing of the new movies that I actually really fucking enjoy and want to see more of. And makes me want to like James Gunn even more. I mean...
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, it's the most stupid and fucked up movie that I've seen in a long while. Just them coming to a camp, killing everyone in a fun, stupid way, like with the polka dot man, like just exploding somebody with the stupidest superpower. I love that they just picked unknown superheroes or supervillains, I should say. And it's just turning out to be allies. And whoops. I guess we fucked up. Just works for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the shift in the beginning, like when you start with one team and then there's a shift to the other one. I love that moment.
Right.
And it was another great cinematic experience, and you can call us basic bitches for loving these superhero films, but it really was. It's far more than that. It's really great filmmaking, and I loved seeing it in IMAX and the whole aspect ratio there. And it's a great film. It's my number 9. I don't buy into the hype as much as you and other people do. Maybe it was, I actually had high expectations for this. Maybe it was that. To me, it started off so well that the rest of it kind of like couldn't live up to that. Kind of like John Wick 3,
Sure.
which is a weird comparison. But yeah, it's so much better than the first one, obviously. And yeah, I love James Gunn. I can't wait for Guardians 3. That's going to be my one of the year, I think.
I hope so, yeah. He's just got his own style that I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, and he knows what he's doing. He
does. And
Absolutely.
You say we're basic bitches for liking like superhero movies, but what I like about this, you don't have to know any prior movies.
Right.
It's just a fun ride, whatever you're into.
Right. For
Nice,
sure.
yeah. So that's my number 1, short and sweet. We've talked about this before. Suicide Squad. What is your number 1? What is the best thing you've seen all year?
Yeah, I think it's your 10. It's Dopesick.
My 10, yeah.
And it
Crazy.
it was set in stone the minute I finished the show.
Nice, okay.
And I'm so happy because when we talked about it before, I'd only seen one episode.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that night I think I saw episode 2 and 3, and then man, I absolutely love this. But it's going to be good to get your perspective on this because I have talked about this before. I'm happy to say that things that I was hoping it was going to be like actually happened. It sort of managed to keep up its quality.
Sure.
But you told me the day after you started watching and you liked it a lot too. So
it's great.
What are your feelings on it?
I actually kind of feel bad that it's only my number 10. It's so hard to place it. I kind of also base it on rewatchability. But it is a great show with great casts. Just such amazing performances by I keep forgetting her name. I'm so sorry.
Caitlin
Dever. I keep confusing her with Abigail Breslin.
Fair.
Yeah. But which is also so funny because I mentioned when you talked about Dopesick that there was a special on Last Week Tonight about opium. I don't know if you've seen it by now.
Yes, I have.
Which is kind of ties in with the end of Dopesick and knowing what has happened.
100%.
All this happened.
Yeah.
Which is great. And also, I kind of forgot that in the Opium 2 episode, because he did 3 specials on that.
Yes.
Michael Keaton played Richard Sackler,
yes, he did.
Impersonation of him, which is funny. But he didn't play Richard Sackler here, but a doctor, and he was fucking heartbreaking. I mean, the testimony he gives in the very first episode, where he's asked if he has prescribed Oxycontin to his patient and what has happened to them, and he just pauses for such a long time, then goes, I can't believe how many are dead now.
Yeah.
Is just sells the whole show in one sentence, and you're just hooked from that moment.
Right. You're in.
Yeah.
It was such a good pilot. Such a good first episode. I think Keaton is unbelievably good in this. Unbelievably good in this. As the, quickest summary, it's about the OxyContin epidemic, really, told. So it was set like early, sort of mid-90s, right, through to like mid-2000s, right? Because we talked about that on the... I wasn't quite sure about the time frame.
Yeah, I think 2004 is like the trial you see at the very beginning, or 5, I'm not sure, yeah. Right.
So so it's about the OxyContin crisis, about like the FDA approving a drug made by the Sackler family is it Purdue, right? It's Purdue Pharma.
Purdue Pharma, yeah.
Them selling opioids with the tagline of them not being as addictive as others.
Mm-hmm.
For no fucking reason, because they have an FDA label that says it's less addictive than the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
It's about,
built on complete bullshit studies that never really took place.
Built on a study that's like a paragraph long. They just
Which wasn't really a study.
No.
Of course, somebody made a statement. Yeah,
of course. Just some random doctor said that it wasn't. they just took that and blew it up to something that it wasn't.
Without his knowledge.
Without his knowledge. He had nothing to do with it. He's the most cited study in all of their fucking documents. And at the FDA, they had someone who approved the label who then worked for Purdue Pharma or whatever.
People. Yeah.
It's just a cash grab machine. And it is told through so many different perspectives. Michael Keaton, as you said, plays a doctor who prescribed OxyContin unknowing to what is going to end up happening to his patients and himself who gets prescribed OxyContin after an accident. Will Poulter, dude, I forgot to mention that on the regular episode. His accent, it's got to be the best fake American accent I've ever heard. The dude is British. It's unbelievable. It's
very
unbelievable.
good, yeah. I mean, he's played...
Right.
No, I think I'm confusing him with somebody else. Detroit? Was he the cop in Detroit?
He was in Detroit, yes.
Yeah.
And in Revenant. No, he's done it before. He's great with accents. Obviously, with the Millers, I think he also has an American accent.
I forgot that he's British.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough, yeah.
He is the sales rep who sells OxyContin for Purdue. Every scene with him and Keaton together, their relationship, the way it breaks off, the way Keaton confronts him about selling poison, the way Keaton asks him for pills when he visits him at the rehab clinic. Right. Rosario Dawson as the...
she was one of my favorite story arcs.
Yeah,
I loved her. I think she's an actress that I haven't paid a lot of attention to in the last couple of years, but what I've seen from her when I think about it is fucking amazing. She's a really good actress.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I loved her relationship with her husband too. Felt very real.
I've loved that story arc that they concluded that. Just opening with her saying she's about to get a divorce, and then just over the next couple of episodes telling her story of getting more involved in the investigation against Purdue and that taking a toll on her. Yeah. Right.
And telling the story of the relationship through flashbacks.
Right.
Yeah. Loved the husband. I thought it felt very real. She's obviously I think it's at the FBI, right?
DEA.
Sorry. Right. But isn't there something with the FBI as well? No? Am I mixing that up now? She's at the DEA. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. Who else is in this?
Caitlin Deaver, like we mentioned, as a brilliant patient of
Michael Keaton.
Sorry. Some fireworks going off in the background.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
As Michael Keaton, it's now 12 p.m. We're spending it in front of our PCs. Obviously, as a young mine worker who gets prescribed OxyContin.
Sorry, Skarsgård.
Yeah, Peter
Sarsgaard.
Sarsgaard.
Phenomenal as this.
No K in there.
I finally managed to say the word. What's his name, sorry?
Sarsgaard.
Yeah,
not Peter Sarsgaard. No, he's not related.
Skarsgård.
He's not related.
Ah, okay. I thought he was maybe the brother. Okay,
no,
sure.
I don't think he's related.
Okay,
he's also in The Lost Daughter with the new.
Oh,
yeah,
let's go.
Because I think he's the husband of Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Right. Yeah.
She's the
I think
director.
we have actually talked about this.
Maybe
at some point.
He's great in this as the I never knew it's a district attorney. No, it's not district attorney, but I never knew his title. No, the district attorney is the other guy, right?
Right. He is with the district attorney's office, I suppose. Isn't that what he always introduces himself when he interviews people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. But as sort of the force, like the investigation, like he wants to know what the fuck happened, basically, along with his colleague and other people as well. I love the guy who played the DA. I know him from like Limitless, the show. I forgot his name. Just Jake McDorman? Yeah, Jake McDorman. Really loved him, and I could go on and on. Are we forgetting anyone big?
Richard Sackler, played by...
Of course.
Who was it?
Michael Stuhlbarg.
Stuhlbarg, that's his name.
Such a great voice, such a great impersonation of the guy. If you watch the original tape too, yeah.
Kind of weirdly menacing, even though he is like this guy who just keeps getting forgotten by his family and then just takes complete control.
Yeah.
And also the woman who plays his cousin or whatever. Isn't she the one that also in the tape?
Yes. What tape?
I think it's shown at the very end of the show, and it's also shown in the special where she gives an interview about OxyContin.
The Last Week Tonight thing?
Yeah.
Katie Sackler, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I feel like we're missing many people, but I think we got the majority of them, right?
Yeah. And you mentioned this when you had this as your pick, the way they portrayed the timeline, like making it visually so pleasing when it just skips through time. You have this like timeline and you always know where you are compared to the last scene.
Yeah.
Makes it so much easier to follow the story, especially over multiple episodes, which I thought was so well done.
100%. Philippa Sue is the only main actress I think we forgot. It's from Hamilton, obviously, as another sales rep. Do you remember?
You're shitting.
Philippa Sue?
That's Philippa Sue?
I told you this on the regular episode.
Right, I forgot about this. I didn't recognize her at all.
Yeah,
I felt like she seemed so familiar, but she looks so different.
Yeah, she plays a very different character than what's her name? Eliza. Yeah.
That's so weird. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Just her face, everything looks so different. Yeah, it's just such an evil character. She like embodies the sales reps who are into this because Will Poulter's the guy with a bit of a conscience, and she is just money, give me money and fuck everyone else, just intimidating drugstore owners, pharmacy owners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
One of many bad people in this, for sure.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
just by how good she was.
She's great. She's great. I love it. The absurdity of it all. It's a story worth telling. A lot of people should know about this. It's still going on today, I think. It's
gotten better.
Yeah,
I think.
Hopefully, a little bit maybe. But Danny Strong is the show creator. He actually retweeted our tweet promoting the regular episode, which was nice.
Oh,
yeah. Good friend of the show, Danny Strong.
Somebody recently asked me if you had somebody retweeting us again after we had this big moment with Ricky Gervais, and was like, I think we peaked at that point.
Nothing against Danny Strong, but I think he would agree that Ricky Gervais is a bit of a bigger name than Danny Strong.
Sure, yeah.
But I am a huge fan of Danny Strong now, and the way he manages to intertwine all of those stories, the different angles in which the story is told, and to make every single aspect of every story interesting, and to make the story as a whole interesting, coherent, is very, very noteworthy and well done. So Dopesick for me was definitely the best thing I've seen. And I said before we started, I didn't have a single 9 this year. I have 1 10, and that's Dopesick.
Wow.
So
let's go.
Isn't that a mic drop moment? I saved it for that moment right there.
I gotta say, just also Caitlin Dever being in great, just limited shows. I would love to see such releases just blow you away. And a lot of the time they're also on HBO Max, which is hard to get our hands on now.
Yep.
But that and two unbelievably good shows.
Yeah. Booksmart, she's been great. We talked about this. Yeah.
Great. Nice.
So those are our picks of the year, the best things we've seen this year. What do you have for honorables?
What I loved this year was I really enjoyed Hawkeye. It wasn't going to make my list, but really enjoyed it. Drive My Car was close to being on there. Last Night in Soho.
Oh, wow. Really?
Really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
But too many other good ones. Judas and the Black Messiah. Great. Yep. The Dig. Loved it.
The Dig was 2021. Yes, it was. Yeah. Still
loved
haven't seen
that
it.
movie,
Yeah.
actually. This had a shot of making it The Father just because of Anthony Hopkins' performance.
Of course.
Amazing. And of course, Minari was my number 11. I actually had it on my list and then crossed it out.
Right.
What about you?
I have excluded The Worst Person in the World, which is the Biennale film that's not out yet. That comes out in February or March.
Right.
That would have maybe made my list. I decided on excluding it just to make it easier for me to put the list together. So that's a special honorable. In terms of real honorables, I have The Father as well. I have The Kid Detective, 100%.
Still gotta watch it.
Yeah, that almost made my list.
Crazy,
then,
okay.
Boss Level, the Frank Grillo film. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Sure.
It's fun.
Sure.
Then I have No Time to Die, the Bond one. The Last Duel. I really enjoyed The Last Duel.
Okay.
What's going on? You enjoyed that film?
Understood The Last Duel. Just going to be the documentary about Michael Stuhlbarg.
Sitting on the toilet. And then I have Mayor of Easttown, the Kate Winslet HBO show, where she's a detective.
Right, yeah.
Another miniseries, The Innocent, the Spanish one from Oriol Paulo. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Bo Burnham's Inside almost made my list. Just because it's Bo Burnham.
Yeah,
love that dude.
I forgot that was this year, but now that you said it, I'm kind of surprised that it didn't make your list.
Yeah, I mean, there were many decent things this year. I could go on. Shang-Chi I enjoyed. Dune definitely is worth of an honorable.
Like Shang-Chi not making it the list, but Wrath of Man does.
Yeah.
I can't figure you out, dude. You're the unpredictable one this year.
I think that is because I did put No Way Home in there. I didn't want to oversaturate it with Marvel.
Fair enough.
but I'll stand by my Wrath of Man. I'll stand by him.
Nice.
Just to read through the rest, I got written down here. Malcolm and Marie. I got Pieces of a Woman too.
Malcolm and Marie, you're right.
Those didn't have really a shot of making it. Just in the contention of like the top 30 or whatever, maybe. Power of the Dog. I enjoyed. Stillwater because it's Matt Damon.
Right. Yeah. I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, and then Happening, which was the abortion film I saw at the Biennale, which was really, really good. I don't know if that's out yet. That's a really...
Was it a documentary or is that a feature film?
It's a feature film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
In the 60s or 50s. Some lighthearted stuff, you know?
I remember. Yeah, I remember actually.
And dude, I have to mention this. What I thought was going to be my top 3 throughout the whole year, which isn't the 2021 release, is definitely I Know This Much Is True. The Mark Ruffalo show.
Yeah.
Derek C. and Friends. That came out last year, unfortunately.
Too bad.
One of the best things I've seen all year, though.
I completely forgot about this. Also, there's so many things that we talked about at like the beginning of the year that I forgot about.
Yeah, this is one of the best things I've seen all year, even though it's not a 2021 thing. I Know This Much Is True. So good.
Fair enough. Yeah. Nice.
That's it for honorables. And in terms of omissions, we have to say the things that maybe if you're listening to this in like the UK or the US, we haven't got the chance to watch Licorice Pizza. We haven't got the chance to watch Belfast. We haven't got a chance to watch King Richard. Mask, come on. Hey, literally got come on is the next one written down. Yeah. So all of these films, we didn't exclude them because we didn't like them. We excluded them because we had no chance of seeing them, unfortunately. So,
but we might get to it in January. We'll see when it's...
Sure. But then in December, we're going to put it on the list again and no one, it's going to feel like it's been out for 2 years again.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
Nice. I
think that's it.
Right. I mean, you're right. Maybe it wasn't the best list, but there are some great fucking things on there in both of our lists. I think, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I watched this year. I watched more than I did last year. Last year was a weird year where I think obviously a lot of things were postponed, and but also like I don't know why. Even though we had more time spending at home, I didn't really watch a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were the same. This year I watched more, but overall. When making this list, as I said, Dopesick was the standout to me, and then everything else sort of. There were some great ones, but unfortunately, apart from Dopesick, nothing really blew me away this year.
I mean, a 10 is still something. There's many years where I don't have a 10.
Right, but I'm talking about like a good 9.
Still.
Yeah. I think I'm more lenient giving out 10s than you are.
Well, how many 10s do you have on your Letterboxd account?
I have about like between 20 and 25. I'll say between because there's like some documentaries on there, like making of documentaries. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Fincher spending 4 hours talking about how he made the girl with the dragon tattoo. That's a 10 for me, you know?
Okay.
But
fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you have, like 2?
I have 10.
Well, there you go.
I love that. I don't want it to get any more.
Gotcha.
But I'm quite happy with those. But it's so hard to pick a 10. And I think most, if not all, the films that I have as a 10, I have to watch at least 2 or 3 times before I'm comfortable giving it that, which is so weird. It's not like it matters because it's like my private list. It's not like going to be published anywhere.
Sure.
But a film that's at like a 10 has to be like close to perfect as like the way it was made.
Yeah.
And also in the second viewing, it just has to stay as good as it is. And also it just has to have a special heart in my place somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I get that. It's been the case for most of my 10s as well, that I must have seen it multiple times before that, before I actually like upped it to a 10. But certain things like Normal People, like Dopesick this year, I was just like, let's just, who cares? It's a 10. It's a 10.
Sure. No, sure.
Anyway, that's been episode 96, the best thing we've seen in 2021. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking about this, even though I maintain the fact that I'm hoping 2022 is going to be a better year for films.
Yeah.
We'll see. Still some good ones on our list for sure. If you haven't seen some of them and if you're interested in them now, please check them out. Let us know your thoughts on them if you check them out for the first time. Let us know your favorite things of 2021. We'd love to know if we missed anything big. And yeah, that's it from me. Obviously, we'll be back with another regular episode next week, talking about all the things maybe that we crammed in last week for preparation for this, which obviously only Titane made it. But talk about those things next week. That's it from me.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Like you said, this has been another special episode. We hope you enjoyed. You can check us out anywhere where you get your podcast from. Check us out at Best Thing Radio on Twitter and Instagram. You can check out the thumbnail that Flo is going to make for us once again. It's always a tricky one during a special. And also the intro, I'm quite excited about to hear, which you heard like an hour ago.
Two. Oh, well,
yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. Consider dropping a like, a subscribe, or leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps out a great deal to kind of get us out here into the big old algorithm of life. Happy New Year, or I guess you already are in the new year. If so, I hope it's better than the last one.
Yeah,
it's been a blast, even though we might have said the releases weren't as great as they have been in the last couple of years. It was still a blast with so many fun things to talk about this year, and I hope it's going to be the same next year.
Yeah, let's crack open a bottle, right? Because we'll see each other in like an hour or two.
In like 1 hour or two, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I think I might warm up with a beer right now.
I'll see you soon, and we'll hear you. No, shit, you'll hear us again next week, right? Do you want to do the last bye this one? I'll say bye.
Oh, I get the last bye. I haven't done it in years.
Okay, you ruined it. It should have been like instantly, you know?
Bye. Cut this together.